Arsenal beating Brighton 2-0 in the League Cup. 5 things we learned from the game. Very, very self-assured. Very, very good, confident performance from Arsenal. And yet again, another clean sheet. And some goals from open play. We're going to break down the goals. And of course, 5 things we learned from the match. Make sure you subscribe and leave your comments down below. An overview has to be: there are some trickier games coming up for Arsenal, of course. Bayern Munich on the horizon, I think just around the international break. Even something like Sunderland away is tricky in the Premier League. But this is the kind of game that Arsenal might have taken their eye off maybe a couple of years ago. Suddenly it's a loss. Maybe it's a tricky kind of game where you concede a couple of goals. Maybe someone gets injured. And suddenly that can derail form in the Premier League. But you have to say that Arsenal's confidence is so high right now. Their squad depth is so good that they're steamrolling opposition at home like Brighton, still playing the kids. Look, Liverpool did, and they just lost to Crystal Palace. And they're taking away a lot of confidence from it. I always look at the League Cup. I think you're completely wrong. If you're a Premier League fan looking at Arsenal, Liverpool, Man City, whoever to win the Premier League, you always want to be going far in the League Cup. You really, really do. We can debate the Europa League, the Conference League, whatever you want. But going deep in the League Cup, because it's such an early competition, it gives you the opportunity of experience at Wembley, big games against big Premier League opposition, and it gives you that taste for silverware early in the season. The great managers win many examples of winning a Premier League and a League Cup. Guardiola did it in his first season when he won anything in England, and he did. We saw Mourinho do something very, very similar with Chelsea when he first came in as well. The League Cup is a great. It whets your appetite. It's like a starter for a main course. And I think Arsenal have got to look at winning the League Cup this season. I think they can do more than the League Cup. Of course they can. They should be looking to win maybe a League Cup, Premier League and an FA Cup. I think the Champions League is a little bit of a stretch. And also Arsenal's record in the League Cup's really poor for such a big club. They haven't won it in decades. You look at Man City winning 3s and 4s. Liverpool are the most successful side in the tournament's history. Arsenal, really, for such a big club, could be looking to pick up quite a few of these in recent years. And beating Brighton at home is a great way to start that off. We have to talk about the goals, because the first goal was absolutely exquisite. I mean, it was scary good from Ethan Nwaneri, who I'm probably the biggest fan of Ethan Nwaneri going, and I just don't think he gets enough game time, certainly last season as well, when he's picking up goals in big games for Arsenal as well. It's almost like the most fluid open play goal that people have been chastising Mick Arteta for not scoring enough of. And it has to be said, it was a work of art. Hincapié, who I thought was absolutely superb today, he comes in, barely had a kick for Arsenal, really. Plays a great sweeping ball onto the left-hand side. Goes into Eze. Eze plays it into Moreno. Moreno plays this little backheel ball. It's unbelievable techers from Moreno. I can't believe, who I thought was one of the stiffest players in the Premier League. Playing this little, it's almost like a Ronaldinho back heel into Skelly, who plays it across into Nwaneri with a great finish into the far corner. It's like Joga Benito football. It's like FIFA street stuff, first time, all the way through Brighton. And it's a reminder that when a side like Brighton rock up, and you've got to say fair play to Brighton, they've got bigger fish to fry. They're looking to finish high in the Premier League and maybe have a run for Europe again this season. So lots of rotation for Brighton. They've opened up. They're a little bit less defensive and assured as their first 11 would be in a Premier League game. But they got absolutely ripped apart by that move. And that says for me that Arsenal, their second string side, can rip you apart at any moment. And that is a big confidence booster for difficult games in the Premier League that could be coming up. The likes of Burnley, the likes of Sunderland away, like I've talked about, Tottenham Hotspur, who have got a great defensive record away from home. So it's just a little taster that Arsenal can play things very, very quick. And Hincapié on his left foot, he can swing that ball out real quick. I thought Eze playing on the left, Skelly overlapping. Absolutely outstanding. It really, really was. The second goal is, it's unbelievable from Jurrien Timber. He runs past Watson, who's coming over to try and sort of press him out of the game and stop him running with the ball. He just kind of ignores the press from Brighton. Just completely runs all the way from his own half, deep into the Brighton half. And he kind of has a shot deflected The run from Timber leads it into Anu. So obviously the young kid playing up front for Arsenal in this game. I thought he was absolutely superb, by the way. Bounces into Saka, obviously, who's come off the bench and gets his goal. Really important for Saka, you have to say, whose numbers haven't been massively impressive this season. Yes, he's had a few injury concerns, but I still think his level's been very, very good. Whereas you could argue Salah's level, with the lack of goal return, or Isaac, for example, hasn't been great. I do say that Saka's goal return isn't the best, but his performances have been absolutely superb. He does need these kind of goals, though, and it was a really important one to get Arsenal away from Brighton in terms of the numbers today. The 5 things we learned, the first one for me is Hincapié, who out of all of them, I mean, Ben White's probably had more minutes at this point, Mascara's had more minutes. You have to say, I think a back line of, look, you put Raya back in for Kepa. Let's say you had Ben White, Mascara, Hincapié and Lewis Skelly. Is that better than Liverpool's back line? It's getting close. It's certainly better than Manchester United's back line, in my honest opinion. Might be better than Tottenham Hotspur's back line. I think it's definitely better than Chelsea's back line. That's a B-list back line. And Skelly's fighting it tooth and nail to be starting in this 11 in the Premier League. Ben White, Mascara and Hincapié have got a harder challenge trying to usurp Gabriel and Saliba and Timber. But you have to say, Hincapié on his left foot, he is an outstanding baller of a centre-back. And he isn't only this kind of Kirior, this kind of Tomiyasu figure of someone that just deputises a Rob Holding. This guy is someone that could take the Arsenal defence onto a whole different level, especially if Gabriel or Saliba were to ever leave. I think he's that kind of high-quality talent that actually Arsenal might struggle to keep hold of because he's so good, and he might be sat on the bench for so long unless there's a lot more rotation, and that's just down to how good he is. Similar to Mascara. Mascara would improve a lot of defences in the Premier League, 100%. We have to talk about Eze playing a little bit off the left today. I thought his link-up play was very, very strong. I talked about the Saka goals. I think one of the things that we've learned in this game is that multiple honours are very achievable for Arsenal this season. I don't see too many stringent opposition for Arsenal, especially if they got to a Wembley kind of position. I think with their defensive record, they're not going to concede many chances. I don't care if their form changes massively. Anything can happen with injuries, of course. But you look at what they can do in a cup. They had a deep run in the Champions League last season. They've won the FA Cup with Mikel Arteta. They're not only a great league side, but they're a great cup side. They're built to hit you on the counter-attack. They're built to sit there and soak up pressure. They've got great depth when things get a little bit tough, and maybe you need changes in a second half or an extra time of a cup game. They're a great cup side. I think that's the 5th thing we've learned from this match. Arsenal got a great squad, and they are a great cup side with the way they approach big football matches. This could have been a big banana skin for Arsenal, but they've got past Brighton with relative ease, who were very, very quiet today. What can you say? I think Arsenal are on a different planet to the likes of Liverpool, who just lost in the League Cup. And it remains to be seen if the likes of Chelsea, Manchester City can catch up. Chelsea nearly got banged out of the League Cup as well tonight. Make sure you subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know, and I'll see you very, very soon.